Obviously, we're coming off of the heels of some like breaking news. Kyle Shanahan and Lynch just had a press conference. So, what were your takeaways from the 15 minutes that were actually televised to the public? I heard a lot of echoes, but did you take away? Did you take away anything? What was like the biggest thing that you saw in the little bit that we did see?
Yeah, the biggest takeaways, I think everybody heard, Jimmy Garoppolo is the starting quarterback, and that there's not going to be a splitting of reps in the beginning. And I don't think that was anything really new. That's something that Shanahan's kind of mentioned for a while. You go back to right after OTAs, and he did an interview where he mentioned that it's up to Trey Lance, and I think that's where he still is. It's up to Lance. Nothing's changed since the end of OTAs because they haven't been together, as he said in the press conference today, for 40 days. So once they get together, it's all on Lance to show that he can push Garoppolo, and the better he performs and the more ready he shows himself to be, I think we'll see that competition evolve throughout the training camp. So that's one of them. And the other one was, Bosa and Ford and Hurd all being healthy, not going on PUP to start the training camp. I think that's a big deal too. As far as, Bosa, we kind of felt all along like he was going to be making a comeback and he was going to be out there. But Ford and Hurd are two guys we haven't really known a whole lot about. We got a little bit of a word on it last week that Ford was looking good, but none of us really knew. But I think the fact that he's not going to be on PUP is really a big deal. Potential big deal for the 49ers heading into the training camp here.
And amazing timing for the show that we were scheduled to do anyways, right? We had no idea that news was coming out, but this was something that we had already kind of figured out a few days ago. So great timing there. I do want to delve in a little bit about that first thing. Now, do you feel like Trey Lance not being signed yet is going to play a role in kind of forcing him not to be able to really contend for that starting job coming up week one?
I think that every practice he misses, if he does miss practices because of this contract thing, it does set him back a little bit. But at the same time, if you listen to the reports and you take them at face value, he was doing well when the OTA periods ended, and he had he had digested the entire playbook. So, if he misses one or two practices right at the beginning here where they're not in pads, maybe not that big of a deal. But if it goes beyond that, then it does become an issue that might hold him back a little bit here in training camp. So they definitely need to try to get this wrapped up as soon as possible.
And my second thing is, so I am kind of sometimes a conspiracy theorist, right? So when it comes to Jimmy Garoppolo, I was one person that the minute that Trey Lance was drafted, I went on Grant Cohn's show and I said, you will never hear another negative word out of Kyle Shanahan about Jimmy Garoppolo. Yep. Now, you contrast that to what it was like before Trey Lance was drafted, where all you heard was very lukewarm praise of Jimmy Garoppolo and sometimes just throwing Jimmy Garoppolo under the bus. So I kind of feel as if Kyle Shanahan is trying to tell the girlfriend that he knows he cheated on that he didn't cheat and how much he loves this girl that he cheated on. And it seems like that's the kind of passion that it's coming across when he's propping up Jimmy Garoppolo. Do you get that same sense, or do you believe him at face value that Jimmy Garoppolo is his day one starter?
I don't know if he said that Jimmy Garoppolo is his day one starter in terms of week one of the season. He says he might. Yeah, I think I do take him at face value, and that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be his day one starter on the first day of training camp. But I think that's going to be something that's going to evolve. And like I said, kind of at the beginning, it's all this whole thing is dependent on Trey Lance, because you don't spend the money, the capital that they used to get him if you're not expecting him to be the guy and you don't want to move on to him as soon as possible. So I think that he's doing a little bit of what you said as far as, trying to hype him up and make sure everybody knows how much he wants him. And at the other part of it, I also think that he's saying right now he is the best quarterback, because we've only had 7 practices with Trey. We and I think in the back of his mind he wants Lance to be the starter, but he needs Lance to show up before he can actually name him that. So that kind of goes back along with something that we've talked a lot about, like on our roundtables and everything, is that they're not going to just hand him the job. He needs to go out and win it, and that's not going to happen until they get into training camp and he's actually on the field.
Got you. So, I mean, this is obviously one of the biggest things that everybody's going to be eyeing during training camp is really seeing the quarterback competition. It's obviously going to overshadow everything else in training camp. So it's going to be interesting to see. I'm sure it's not the last time we're going to talk about it, but a few things I took from the press conference. One is Kyle Shanahan's hair was just amazing. He looked great. His hair looks like something that you could put on a Ken doll. And me, who is somebody who's follically challenged, really admires people that have great hair like that. And the second thing, I really feel like Kyle Shanahan is usually real calm, collected, no matter what he talks about. Is really no passion. But when he's speaking about Jimmy G being his starting quarterback, it seems like there's a lot of passion there. And to me, that's really telling. I don't know if it's going to play out. We'll see week 1 who's the starter. But to me, it really feels like Kyle Shanahan is out of character when he's talking about Jimmy Garoppolo. So those are my 2 biggest takeaways. Take it for what it is.
Do you feel like maybe he's a little overdoing it? Is that kind of what you mean?
Yeah, like overdoing it because, I mean, it's like we forgot about how he's spoken about Jimmy Garoppolo up until this point. Like, what has changed? It's not one game that Jimmy Garoppolo has played, yet the whole outlook of how Shanahan looks at Jimmy Garoppolo has changed. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. You know what I mean? And so, like, that's where it's just like, to me, it's just he's trying to get him elevated in the eyes of someone to take Jimmy Garoppolo on, right? If Kyle Shanahan's, this is my starting quarterback, he's hoping that his pull as an offensive genius and how he's looked upon in NFL circles, that some team is going to be like, well, if Kyle Shanahan loves this guy, maybe we should make a move for him because he might be available. And I think that's more what I see than him actually like really believing that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be his starter.
Right. Gotcha.